What is the most satisfying time you've caught someone in a lie? One time my family's company was throwing a company Christmas party at an upscale restaurant in Nick. We were in a private room upstairs, but it wasn't like there was security or anything like that, so anyone could and eventually did come upstairs to mooch. Anyway, I'm there with several members of my family having a good time, enjoying some food and drinks, and getting to know people in the company. I'm sitting at a table with several employees I had just met, and two of my cousins who work with them, when two guys come up to our table and introduce themselves. They were professionally dressed, were quite friendly. They start asking people what they do, flirting with several of the girls at the table, and trying to act pretty alpha. They asked me what I did, which was graphic design at the time, and kinda laughed at my career choice. So being a few drinks in, I ask what they do at the company, and they say that their family owns the business. I take a long look at the two of them, take a sip off my drink, and say, "Oh really? I must have missed you at the last family reunion. By the way, I'm Theodore Company's name. Nice to meet you." The look on their faces was priceless. They put down their drinks and just walked out. Ex told me she was sick and couldn't go out with me that night. Fine, whatever. Well, we had previously introduced her best friend to my best friend. For some reason, her best friend was mad at her that night and called me to tell me my GF was cheating on me with a guy named Mike. She even told me what street he lived on. So I drive down this street looking for her very unique, personalized license plate car, but don't see it. As I'm driving away, I notice there's an alley behind the houses. Sure enough, there's her car. I go back to the front door and knock. Some dude answers, and I say, "Is Mike here?" "Yeah, he's up in his room," pointing up the stairs by the door. "First door on the right." "No, left." Then this dude just stands aside to let me in. I walk up the stairs, open the door, and there's my GF putting her shirt back on. "Hey guys, what's going on?" All she says is, "What the fuck?" Dude is still in bed under the blankets. She goes into crazy bitch mode, asking me how I found her, how I got in, while this guy keeps saying, "Dude, I did not know she had a boyfriend. Why didn't you tell me?" Over and over. He was a little fella, and at the time I was in the army, and in the best shape of my life. The situation was so fucked up that I just had to giggle, but quickly returned to reality and walked out before I hurt someone. The roommate that let me in, even after hearing all the commotion, was sitting there playing PlayStation. I nodded and said thanks as I walked out the door. I once knew a girl who claimed to have brain cancer. She was always using it to get sympathy from others and her BF and free things, while at the same time drinking and doing drugs. She would go to a party, do lines of cocaine and drink all night, and the next day complain on Facebook that her chemo was making her really sick that day. She would always use the chemo excuse to mooch pot off of people as well. Basically whenever she wanted a free bar tab or to get out of something her BF wanted to do, brain cancer was her excuse. So one night I'm at a Halloween party and she is there, using her fake brain cancer to get sympathy/free things from guys. She is sitting in the corner smoking weed, crying about how hard it is to have this kind of cancer, and how much the blast radiation makes her sick, and how each day is a struggle. Anyway, she gets up to walk to the bathroom, and in her high, drunken state trips and falls. Immediately a bunch of guys and her BF rush to her aid. Sorry, a side effect of the radiation is loss of balance. This was the last straw for me. I rushed over to her side and told her to stay on the ground. "I have first responder training. You've just fallen, and your brain is in a very delicate state right now due to the blast radiation. Do I have your permission to help you?" "Yes, please help me. I feel funny," she lies, loving the attention she is getting from the entire party. I point to her BF, "Call 911. We need an ambulance here now." Explain to them that she is undergoing blast radiation for brain cancer. She has taken a hard fall and could have suffered a head injury. At this point she starts to panic. "Why are you calling 911? Don't do that. Here, let me call my personal doctor instead. Don't call 911. I calmly tell her BF and the group of bystanders, our mutual friends, that she really should go to the ER. Of course he insists. Long story short, the paramedics show up, we tell them what's going on, and they take her to the hospital in the ambulance. We all get rides to the hospital, and because we are such a large group are asked to sit in the waiting room. When the nurse finally comes out to the waiting room after her MRI to let us know that she's fine, her boyfriend mentions the brain cancer. The nurse, of course, is completely confused by this question. The boyfriend prods for more info from the nurse and basically finds out in front of the entire group that she does not have brain cancer. Everyone WTFs and leaves, including her BF. TL. Doctor, girl pretends to have brain cancer, ends up with huge medical bill. Lube tech at a Jiffy Lube tried to convince me that I needed a radiator service on a car that didn't have a radiator. He even showed me a pH strip to prove that the fluid had gone acidic. I told him if he could show me the radiator, I'd cheerfully pay for the service. His face when he opened my car's trunk, where most cars keep their hoods, was pretty priceless. When I was in college I had just gotten 2 new front tires for my car. A week later my back tire was punctured by a nail. So I went to the local tire shop to have it replaced. Later that day they gave me a call. Tire shop, the estimate to fix the puncture is X. Would you like us to repair it? Me, yes, please. It was a reasonable price. Tire shop, also, I noticed that the treads on your front tires look dangerously low. Me, my 2 front tires. Tire shop, yes, they are at 2/32 of an inch low. This is legally worn down, and they should be replaced. I can do it today for X dollars. Me, so you are telling me that my 2 front tires are dangerously worn down? Tire shop, yes. Me, my brand new tires that I bought last week. Tire shop, oh, me, forget fixing the puncture. I'll be by in a minute to pick up my car. Ex-husband, no, I'm not having an affair. Me, well, then why do I have 200 pages worth of IMs, texts and emails with sexual content sent between you and her? Him, I was hacked. Me, for 4.5 years. Him, why? Yes. Me, how did the hackers get these 37 photos of you nude? Him, and I shit you not. That's not me. Spoiler, it was definitely him. Birthmark, pasty fatness, and all. This isn't someone else, but a lie I told. When I was a kid I played hockey from school once, and I called in to tell them I was sick. I pretended to be my father and used my best impression of him, and it worked. I had duped the school secretary. So anyway, I spent that whole day in town, just messing around with some friends who left school during study halls, and I went to get some ice cream. While I was eating my ice cream, when I got a call from one of my classmates, I placed my cone in my shirt pocket, which was secure enough to carry, and picked up. She sounded a bit worried. She told me that my uncle had recently come back from military duty for 2 years in Afghanistan, and that he had showed up during my English class to surprise me. He had gotten the news that I was sick, so he had left to visit the house. I panicked and ran to get on my bike, forgetting that my ice cream was still in my shirt pocket. If he had just left, I could meet him at my house. Before he got there, I pedaled my hardest, going faster on my bike than ever before. I rounded the last block and was almost home free when I saw him walk out of the house, disappointedly. I thought maybe I could fib my way out of this situation, so as I approached, I was prepared to tell him I was out getting orange juice. But who steps out of the house but my mother and father, both ready to surprise their sick son, and wondering how he managed to get melted ice cream all over his nice collared shirt on a school day. My 13-year-old daughter ran away from her mother's home and appeared at my doorstep with a bruise on her face. She informed me her mother had backhanded her and bounced her face off the refrigerator door handle. A year later, while in court to gain sole custody of my daughter and representing myself, the court justice asked what is this abuse about. I told him of how my daughter showed up with bruises on her face. My ex stood up and shouted that she would never do such a thing to her child. I couldn't as a mother ever strike my child knowing my ex could never pass up an opportunity to correct me. I told the justice, when my daughter showed up she informed me that her mom had backhanded her and bounced her face off the liquor cabinet. Without missing a beat my ex said it wasn't the liquor cabinet, it was the refrigerator. Sweet justice. We used to know this girl who compulsively lied about the littlest things, so we always wondered if she was lying about other things. Mainly we wondered if she was lying about having epilepsy. Well, she faked a fit in front of a group of us once, at a party. She started pretending to shake, fell to the floor and so on. She then stopped, confirmed that people were looking and paying attention, and then continued. We told her to stop, and that she was obviously faking. She left. I do it for a construction firm. We were rolling out 78 iPhones in one day to a bunch of our superintendents and corporate people. Everybody had to sign up in advance for a 15-minute time slot, and I mean sign up like weeks beforehand. After the deadline 2 weeks before the rollout day, we cut off the sign-ups and ordered one phone per person that signed up. The phones were set up so that they'd already be attached to that person's name, number, etc. The sign-up sheet was just a document with write-only permissions. Nobody could remove or change anybody else's name, they could only add their own. On the day of the rollout, we have one of our higher-ups that's a little pretentious walk into the room where we are doing the deployment. There are lines and lines of people. He strolls in, claps his hands together, and says, "Alright, who's got my iPhone? Well, we don't have one for you. You didn't sign up. We ordered exactly enough. It's only 10 AM and we're already behind. And there are lines of people who signed up that are waiting to get this." No, I definitely signed up. I have it right here in my calendar. This is the event that got auto added to my calendar. Look. Literally every person in that room knew that there was no automatically added calendar event because the sign up only consisted of you writing your name on a page. Sorry, the invitations didn't work like that. You made that event yourself. He started fuming, turned red, began several sentences, then gave up, turned on his heel, and walked straight back out that door. Our non-corporate superintendents and all the other field people really appreciated us that day. Don't act like you're important if you can't even follow the simple instructions we send you. People, come on. My boyfriend used to work third shift at a popular gas station on the East Coast. He worked with one of those notoriously terrible cowhawkers that calls in all the time with tons of excuses. Well, one night, she called out saying that she was sick, that she was vomiting and feverish, couldn't come in. Sorry. The only person available to work her shift was the district manager, who happened to be in the area for a meeting. DM comes in and works cashier with my boyfriend around 3 AM, who should walk in, but the called out cowhawker wasted beyond belief. She bought 2 rolls of Tums and ate one while waiting in line. Waiting in line for the DM to ring her up and fire her on the spot. TL. Dr. Cowhawker fakes being sick, only to return to place of employment wasted and find her boss waiting on her.